Hi, friends. This is part 2 of our conversation with Renee Merkle. So obviously, if you haven't heard part 1, go back. Go back right now. Do not pass go. We're going to talk about the Galactic Federation.
Yeah, we are.
I'm Lauren Leon.
And I'm Frank.
We are a married couple learning how to develop our own intuition, and this is episode 57 of Clairvoyaging.
To the moon again!
Wayfeather Media presents Clairvoyaging.
Oh.
Hello.
Welcome to it.
Hello, pretty babies.
We're back.
We are recording this intro on Christmas Day.
Yeah.
So that's commitment.
That's commitment
Or a
to
failure.
you, not our family.
Or a failure to plan. I don't know. Happy Christmas.
Happy holidays.
Guys, just a quick update. We
Bit.
have a new website, clairvoyaging.com. We want to make it a resource for anyone going through spiritual development or for parents looking for resources for their psychic children or themselves. So we've started a directory of trusted professionals, which includes some of the podcast guests that we've had.
Yeah.
And it's just going to keep growing. So go check it out. And also we're going to have some video content pretty soon. So that's kind of exciting.
Stuff that you can dig in if you don't know where to start. Because we've run into a couple people since starting the pod where they're like, oh, what do we... who can we talk to? I'm like, well, we can direct you to a couple people. But now there's a whole directory of more than a couple people.
Yeah.
So get in there, sift through it. It's cool.
Yeah.
You'll also notice that there's some information about our upcoming documentary in there.
That's my next update.
Oh, hit it.
Exactly.
Do it.
Yeah. I said it on the last episode. We are fundraising for a documentary. So if you want to support that project, it's going to be really cool.
Oh, it's going to be
You're going to be excited about who's involved too. We're not going to
will.
say yet.
Yeah, you know what?
It's early stages.
If you want to know, go to the website. Go check it out. But listeners, I'm not gonna tell you right now.
Oh.
I'm gonna drive traffic. This time I'm the shill. Look at me.
Oh, what a shill.
I'm the shill now.
Pushing corporate.
We're not actually we're an LLC, I guess.
We're
Technically.
not corporate.
But
We're not
how
corporate. That's
You know
not a
what?
corporation. That's an LLC.
If this is corporate, I'm going straight to HR. I'm in big trouble.
Yeah.
Anyway,
You are HR. So am I.
I am. Look at me.
Guys,
I'm HR.
it's going to be a good one. So if you want to support the project, go to our website. Link is in the bio. Either one.
Mhm.
So let's get straight to part 2 of Rennie. We got in there. Got in there with the Galactic
Oh
Federation.
yeah, you have now an all access pass to the United Nations of Space.
The Galactic Council.
Yeah.
This is something that this was a real learning, like eye-opening process for me, because anytime I've heard star seeds, I'm like, I don't know.
To be fair, we know that like there's a whole group out there of, self-proclaimed like light workers who kind of drift into the toxic and kind of maybe abuse terms like star seeds and stuff like that. You probably won't be hearing me using that word a lot because it mostly ties into reincarnation. But anyway, yeah, this is a blast and we get into it. We'll leave it at that.
Yeah. Rennie's just cool, as you have learned from part 1. So let's hear the rest of this conversation, huh?
Here we go.
Roll the tapes to happy holidays.
Circle the star wagons. So Spirit Team, Healing Team, and Galactic Team. So I guess it's time for your question, Lauren.
Let's get to the Galactic Federation because
Well, let's start at Galactic Team and we'll work up to the Federation.
Okay. What's our Galactic Team?
So we are not all here from Earth. Our souls have been many different other planets. To think that Earth is the only place that you can inhabit is just not true.
Mm-hmm.
There are people who come from a specific planet, and that's their starseed origin. And so their galactic team would be from that place. So let's say you're from Arcturus, then your galactic team would be Arcturian.
Is that a planet?
Or, yes.
Okay.
Or the Pleiades star system. Your soul is Pleiadian, and then your galactic team would be the Pleiadian.
So let's. I'm assuming this ties into the concept of like reincarnation.
Yes.
Okay. So let's assume someone has been reincarnated for multiple lives. Earth is just one option. And maybe you started someplace else and you've reincarnated here this time.
Yes.
Go on.
I'm just trying to keep us on some kind of like learning trajectory.
And it's great. Uh-huh.
So it's funny that we talk about so many big concepts, and this one is such a big one, a hard one to swallow for some reason.
We've talked about reincarnation that makes complete
sense. Like there's no
past
reason
lives and Akashic records, and then we get to the planets, and I'm like, well, how do people know that they're from? I've heard Arcturian, and I've heard Pleiadian, and how do they know? And how do people say I'm a starseed? How do they know that?
Yeah.
You know, there's that Carl Sagan quote that I love. I'm probably going to butcher it, but he says that like the universe is an awfully big place. If it was just us, it would be an awful waste of space or something. And that makes it is a massive place.
If you think about it, we have been incarnating for as long as we've been incarnating.
Mm-hmm.
And we have been everything. We have been men, we have been women, we have soul families, and we come down with our soul family members. We have, large soul families. We'll just use an example, like, let's say your soul family is 1,000 people, and then you are playing a part in a play. So before we come in, we make a plan. We say, these are the things I'm going to experience in this lifetime. So let me just see.
Like soul contract stuff.
Yes, soul contract. So we make a soul blueprint in the beginning. So we say, okay, this is what I want to experience. For example, you two have been married in multiple lifetimes. You have played both roles in the marriage in the different lifetimes. And
we've heard that before.
So, yeah.
It's so cool.
Yeah. Okay. There have also been times where you've been mother and child. But it's not like weird or anything because each incarnation is different.
Yeah.
We're all soul family. We come in, we say, okay, this time, let's say next time you guys come around, you say, Lauren, I'm going to be the husband and Frank, you're going to be the wife.
No kink shaming. We're good.
Yeah. Or, maybe next time around you incarnate in the same, what we consider gender. We're all masculine and feminine.
Mm-hmm.
We just express one way or the other, whatever our soul feels. So we make the plan before we come in. We say, okay, I want to play daughter, you play mom, you play dad, you play my husband or wife or whatever. And you make all the pieces. So like when you're going to play Monopoly, you pick out your piece that you're going to play with.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody picks their piece that they're going to play with, and then they come in and play those parts. So we come in and do that. We go through all the experience. But when we come through the birth canal, whichever way that happens, we forget everything. We made all these plans before we came in, but we forget when we come through to this plane of existence.
Part of the fun.
Then we go, because Earth is school.
Right.
Where would the growth be if we knew exactly what was going to happen throughout our life?
Right.
And so we go through life, we learn the lessons that we set up before we came in, that we forgot that we set up as we came in. And then we wonder, why is life so hard or whatever?
Yeah. Why is this happening to me?
A lot of us that are healers have been through a lot as a kid, a lot of trauma. I've been through a lot myself, and I used to think, what did I ever do to deserve this?
Right.
What could I have possibly done to make this happen? But
Yeah.
it turns out that like I set this up so that I could be on the path to help humanity ascend into the higher consciousness. But, 14-year-old me didn't know that.
Yeah.
And so we go through all the things that we set out to do. When we leave this plane of existence, we return to source. We just return to energy. Our bodies are just kind of meat suits that we wear while we're here because we need a vehicle to get around this planet. We make our exit. Our family members or full family members, depending on who you've made the contract with, comes and helps you over to the other side. So when my dad passed, my mom, my brother, my mom's mom came and helped my dad over. And I prepared my dad before he left quite a bit. Like I let him know what the process was going to be like. And after he passed away, he confirmed to me that I was correct. So that was nice.
Whoa, that's so cool.
So our loved ones come, they greet us. There's a big celebration. They're all like, "You're back. Let's." But after
and you're like, wait, did you see the part where can we delete that part?
Yeah.
I was throwing stuff around in my room at 13 because I was pissed.
Yeah. So we have, they greet us, but then we go into life review. So we go back and review that soul blueprint we put together before we came in. We go through everything that we have put on to our life path. We make sure, like, did I learn the lesson? Do I need to go back and readjust this? Do I want to learn more about this? All of the things that we put out there. And then also, if you do anything wrong, like karmically to other people, you have to live that through their eyes in your life review.
I've heard that before.
My dad, after he passed, he apologized for what I went through as a kid.
Wow.
And so after my twin brother passed, my twin brother was the last of the bloodline. My dad was very much attached to that in the patriarchal sense.
Right.
Because that was your like manhood to, keep the family line going. And so my dad turned to drugs. And so he did a lot of heavy drugs while I was growing up. And so he's always a good dad, always loved me, but there was a barrier. And so I never, it's not necessarily that I didn't feel connected to him, but there was just this like, well, it turned out that it was running I'm Not Lovable. That program was running in my field. I didn't know it until I was 5 years into the relationship with my husband that I was running this.
Yeah, yeah.
But it wasn't me. It was that my dad couldn't accept the love for himself because of all the things he'd gone through childhood and what he set up in his plan. But he came through and he apologized for what I had to experience because of his decisions when I was growing up. And he saw everything that I went through my eyes.
Oof. Wow.
Yeah. And so, maybe that helps people be a better person from here on out.
Yeah. Careful,
you
guys.
Just treat others as you'd like to be treated.
Yeah.
If you do that, it makes things a lot easier.
It's not so complicated.
It's such a foundational rule. Even in the 3D religions, everyone says it.
Yes.
People just don't realize the generational trauma that they're bringing into their relationships and what came before them. And it's like this human, very human, like DNA thing that just keeps trickling until we start healing it or start recognizing it. Yeah.
So you described your trauma as a program that you were running.
Okay. So because my dad did drugs I internalized that as a child, that I was not lovable because my dad loved drugs more than he loved me.
Got it.
And it wasn't true. It's just how, as a child, I internalized that my dad chose drugs over the family.
Yeah. You like read that, your body read that energy and made a story and then a belief system.
Unconsciously.
Yeah.
It's, well, hold on. Because I've been trying to parse out the difference between a belief system and a program. Because I feel like a belief system is something that you choose to believe, where a program is something that is just inherently part of your programming. And that both can be adjusted, but I feel like the programming is a harder nut to crack.
Some people are really dug into those belief systems, though. I think it depends on the person and where they are in their, at some point, if a belief system isn't serving you any longer, it may have a hard time, you may have a very hard time letting that go because you've believed it for so long. And if you let go of that belief, then you are wrong. And it's really hard to admit that you are wrong, but it's just, you believed a thing that you no longer believe. And it's just energy. So it doesn't really actually have a meaning. We just gave it meaning.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, that's just trauma built on trauma.
Yeah.
It gets complicated.
Okay. Going back to your soul family, are some of them?
Yes.
So there's let's say there's 1,000 souls, and we're all this part of this big group. Some of us are from another entire system, or are we all our whole group is from Earth only?
So if you think about it, when we incarnate on Earth, we incarnate in different countries.
Right.
So we have chosen to incarnate in the United States, but some people have decided to incarnate in Cambodia and Russia and Ukraine and Zimbabwe and Australia and England. We're labeled by where we've incarnated. Like here we say we're American. It's just where our soul incarnated. That's our human way of describing things.
Yeah.
But our soul signature is our soul signature. So when we first started out, we made our soul blueprint and we said, okay, this time around, I'm going to go and experience this planet over here. And then this time I'm going to go over here. And then I'm going to go to Earth. And then I'm going to go over here. So maybe you went to Arcturus and then you went to the Palladian system or the Andromedan system, or you went to Venus, or, you picked a planet or a star system and you went to explore it. Just like, hey, we incarnated in the United States. But hey, maybe, at the age of 65, we decide we're going to go live in Costa Rica instead. We're just traveling to another area. Because our souls are, we're wearing a human suit here.
Yeah.
We're just energy and we've went to explore different places.
Okay.
That's all it is, really.
Okay.
Some of the stuff can be mind-blowing, so I'm trying not to make it so mind-blowing because I can really blow your mind.
I'm sure. I mean, mission accomplished, and yet here we go. We're going a little bit deeper. First, before we talk about galactic anything else, there's a couple of foundational questions I have. We keep talking about we are currently Earth spirits, or Earth people having
or souls having a human experience.
That one.
Earth people.
Earth people. I Earth people. You Arcturus.
Me Earth people.
You were talking about civilizations on different planets, essentially, that we maybe were a part of. Are these civilizations occurring at the same time as this existence now, or is time just the big joke? We don't talk about time. It's a galaxy far, far away.
Ever heard of the movie Everything Everywhere All at Once?
Yeah.
Yeah, that.
Got it. So then when
Time is a
you,
human construct.
yeah.
Yes.
Oh, I know. I've been making fun of time. It's part of the joke. It's part of the joke
Yeah.
of being here.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
It's time and wanting things. That's the big joke. So then,
And we've collapsed from a 24-hour day to a 2.5-hour day. That's why it feels like time is moving so fast. Like we're already mid-December, and doesn't it feel like we just had Christmas?
Yes.
okay, hold on.
Collapsing.
Cool.
So now here's my thing. When you're talking about like Arcturians or other planetary existences, are we talking about them in the physical form, or is this also separated by some kind of like vibrational dimension?
Some of them are vibrational differences. Okay. So
Yeah, my big question here is like, when you are a psychic medium, and you can also channel galactic beings. Are these all? Are they all hanging out together without us? And they're just like, look at those jerks
they're
down
all
here.
over the place.
Okay.
You mean like
So-
different dimensions from each other?
Yeah, we're
Okay, yeah.
you have a former humans that are now spirits, and you have galactic entities that are. Where are they? Where do they meet?
Okay, so there's a few things that they want to talk about, and it all ties in. So ascension is basically upgrading to the next level of your iOS.
Ooh.
So we're just up leveling, like integrating higher available technology. In this, it's just light codes. Light codes encode our DNA and bring us up into a higher vibrational frequency. Right now, we're going from being a Commodore 64 to a quantum computer.
Hey, hold on. There's nothing wrong with Commodore 64s.
No, I'm not saying there is. I'm just saying that there is a much more powerful machine available.
Yeah.
So first and foremost, about 65% of humanity has decided to ascend. So they came in, they knew that they were ascending this time around. We're here, so we're all ascending. You wouldn't be listening to this if you weren't on the ascension track.
Right.
About 25% came in and said, there's no way I am ascending, not happening. I'm out before that. So a lot of people left during COVID. A lot of people left in mass shootings, in different ways in which they could exit before the ascension took place. There's about 10% who said, I'm just going to decide when I get there whether or not I'm going to ascend. So there are people who came in to get us to a certain point that are exiting before the ascension because they said, oh, my work's done and I'm out. So they could be part of that 10% because those souls that came to help with the ascension but wanted to leave before it actually happened, they are higher level souls typically that have come back to volunteer to do this. So if you're familiar with Dolores Cannon, she has a book called The 3 Waves of Volunteers.
Mm-hmm.
There's millions of souls that came in as volunteers to help with the ascension. So if you're a soul that decided when you came in that you are not ascending, Earth is not going to be 3D. Earth is ascending. So anyone who said I'm not ascending cannot come back to Earth because Earth has ascended past 3D. So those souls have to go back to a planet that is 3D.
Why would someone decide not to?
It's in their soul blueprint, their soul contracts. They want to learn. I don't want to say they want to learn things the hard way, but there's different lessons that they've chosen to learn. And so maybe their soul hasn't evolved to an extent where they're ready to make that ascension jump into the next dimension. So if your soul is at a 3D level, you can only go to other planets that are at the 3D level. But like Arcturians are 9D. There's lots of different dimensions.
Arcturians are 90?
Mm-hmm.
What does that mean? Oh,
9D.
9D.
It's like, what? Okay,
yes.
what?
So
Wait, what does 90 even look? Sorry,
Arcturians-
I'll save that question for later.
90.
Continue.
Okay, 9.
Arcturians can come down to 3D. They can come back to Earth because Earth is going into fourth density. And they can go anywhere between up to the ninth dimension. If you haven't reached a certain level in your soul evolution, you can't go past a certain level. But if you've gone to a certain level, you can come down to other levels and go back to where your soul is at. So let's say you're Arcturian, you're 90, you decide that the next incarnation you're going to come to Earth because you want to help with the ascension. You can come to Earth and do that because your soul's at 90. So you can choose which level you want to be at. But if you're at 90 and you want to go to, 2070, you can't do that because you haven't made it there. And it takes a long time for consciousness. So we all have soul groups. So the Arcturians have made it to 90. So they have been working on this process for billions of years to get to 90. Humanity is just now getting to the fifth dimension. So we have a long ways to go to get to that 90.
What is
so we do have the group. Yeah, good.
How many D's are there? Or is that part of all of this? Are we still discovering that as a whole?
There are dimensions that we have not discovered yet. There are many. There's over 100 dimensions, over 1,000 dimensions. Yes, but they're telling me there are billions. But for our purposes, we're going to stick to.
Yeah, let's do
yeah.
single digit for now.
Maybe 9 or 10.
Yeah, maybe double digit tops.
Who was telling you that just now?
That is my guide talking.
Okay. Uh-huh.
Yeah, they're letting me know.
Are they galactic or are they?
So I have, my spirit guides, my angels, my guides. I already said the guides, but we have our ascended masters, our angels, our guardian angels, our spirit guides, and then we have the galactic team. So where our starseed origins are, and so I work with the Galactic Federation of Light, with the members of the Galactic Federation of Light, and I'm on 5 light councils. So when I go to sleep at night, I astral travel to do the work on the light councils.
Do you remember that? Like, do
Some
you
of
wake
it.
up and you're like, I was at a meeting?
Sometimes. I don't always wake up and know that's what I was doing, but I've always been dead to the world at night.
Uh-huh.
When I go to sleep, I'm off working somewhere.
Your body's a potato. You're busy. Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I used to do a lot of astral traveling until there was an instance where I had been trying clothes on and I left a mirror angled towards my bed and went to sleep. And I used to have this where I'd get night paralysis. And it was when my soul was trying to re-enter my body. And one time I was standing next to my bed looking at my soul in the mirror and seeing my body on the bed.
Oh.
And, for a little bit, I didn't do any astral traveling. I was like, nope, not doing it.
Yeah.
So all these different levels of I guess entities are all on different dimensions essentially, but they can interact with each other as long as it's interacting down.
Yes.
Okay. Who's of your spirit, healing, or galactic team, who is on the higher team, or does it depend on the individual?
So I work with the light councils within the Galactic Federation of Light. The Galactic Federation of Light is like the UN. They make sure everybody is adhering to universal law, making sure that nobody is being aggressive to anyone. They also make sure that, nobody on Earth blows up Earth. So, they'll make sure that nuclear things don't happen.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
So that is who I typically work with. So the team that I work with are Andromedan, Arcturian, Lyran, Lemurian, Atlantean, Hathor, Mintakan, Pleiadian, Venusian, Syrian, and then I recently started working with the Seraphim, which is not part of the Galactic Federation of Light. They're above the Galactic Federation.
That's like a sub angelic or something, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's just for my Bible days. I don't know.
It came through recently, and they're kind of the ones that make sure that unity consciousness, higher level frequencies, it helps us step into our full power, our divine sovereignty, brings us back into a deeper connection with Source and the angelic realm. They're helping support humanity and our ascension. It's a very strong light frequency. So July 26th is the Galactic New Year. And from around July 26th to just recently, I've been going through a total obliteration of an up level. So like ego death, complete like reorganization within my system. I now hold the new earth consciousness in my heart chakra. And so since I've gone through that obliteration, now the seraphim are coming through to work with me as well.
Can you, when you say ego death, like what, can you define that a little bit?
So, we all identify some way, like I am such and such, I am whatever title we are attached to.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people who are light leaders will have to go through an ego death because we had always identified as, like, we'll just say, I did corporate accounting. That was an ego.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I've shed that layer of an ego that I was attached to. And an ego death could also be your belief systems, your programming, your conditioning, all of that has to, if you just think about it, we're just continuously evolving. So what we've believed shifts. A lot of people have gone through this in their belief system. Maybe somebody didn't agree with, they're just bringing this truth, so I'm going to use it. A long time ago, a lot of people had a hard time with people being gay. And then now maybe those same people are supporting people who are transgender, and they don't care that, it doesn't matter because we're just souls having human experience.
Mm-hmm.
But that could be a way in which we've evolved and our ego has shifted in order to bring us back to a way of compassion and understanding and acceptance of others rather than having that separation of, they're other than me.
Right. Okay.
So can I try and distill a bit and see if it checks out? The it's funny because there's so many definitions of ego, and people who are into like Jungian stuff have their own definition as well, which I'm sure it all ties in. But the way you're explaining it to me is telling me that like your ego is essentially like a compilation of all the narratives by which you define yourself, and like ego death is dropping those narratives and to allow for a new storyline. Yes. And as new things come, you let go of the old. So you get more of a flow kind of. Okay.
Sometimes you go through like a massive ego death where like your entire world is shaken up. A lot of people go through this during their Saturn return around age 28 to 30. Everything up to that point is one thing, and then after that it's completely different. Like I moved to San Diego when I turned 28, and I had been friends with people since middle school. And I was hung up on an ex. I moved to San Diego. I lived there for a while. I came back with fresh eyes, and I could see that the friendships I had were toxic, and that guy was not for me. But I couldn't know it unless I moved away. And it just happened that it happened during my Saturn return. And I was able to come back and stop being friends with all of those people. I kept my best friend from childhood, and that's it.
Wow.
And then, like, I never talked to that guy again, which allowed me to be open to meet my husband. And I was able to graduate college within 2 years of stop being friends with those people, even though I had been trying to graduate college for a while, since I graduated high school and I was 28. So, it was very much, identifying that this wasn't serving me, letting go of the ego that was attached to those friendships, of who I was in those friendships, who I was in that relationship. All of that kind of just, went through the, they're showing me the agitator of the washer, old washers.
Yeah.
Went through that so that I could see things clearly and let go of all those identifications that I had of who I was and step into something new.
Can I ask you this though? This is
sure.
How do I want to put this? Part of the fun of being here is, to a certain extent, you're self-identifying as a thing. And I say that because I assume that, like, completely dropping all ego and all of your narratives can maybe at some point be destructive. You're no longer serving because you can't connect with people where they're at. I mean, is this a limiting belief system that I have? Like, are there some things that you like to hold on to because it grounds you?
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah.
So, like, I am a new earth leader. That's an attachment to an identity.
Sure.
But also, like, I'm not attached to it in a way that comes from ego, because that's who I am in this world. My mission is to uplift humanity into the next level of consciousness.
Got it. You're not operating out of that level. It is just something that you are identifying with. And if that were to cease for some reason, you would carry on.
And it has shifted so many times. When I started working with the public after having all of these gifts my entire life, I was playing very small. I was like, oh, I'm a psychic and a medium and a healer and a channel, and I do this work. Right. And then throughout time, and especially now, I'm like firmly in, I am New Earth leader. I am a quantum mentor and healer, and I am a trance channel. I wasn't owning the trance channel, which is different than just a channel, because I can go into a trance state and allow higher vibrational entities to speak through me.
Do you know Bashar?
I was just...
I'm actually going to go meet him.
Ask that same question.
You're going to meet Daryl, or you're going to meet Bashar?
I'm going to meet Daryl
cool.
at the channel panel in January.
How fun is that?
Oh my God.
He seems like such a funny dude. Like, the whole vibe is so just funny. And yet, like, he says such profound things that are so meaningful to so many people. We haven't talked about Bashar at all on the show. We've just mentioned it before because I like his shirts. I like Daryl's shirts. But, he's one of the first people I go to look for when I'm on, like, I don't know, TikTok or something. I'm like, show me something Bashar said. I love it.
Yeah.
So Bashar, for our listeners who don't know, Bashar is like a trans channel. Is that correct?
Yeah. Or
Daryl.
Esther Hicks, who,
right.
Yeah, Daryl Anka channels Bashar. He trans channels Bashar. Esther Hicks trans channels Abraham Hicks. So that's pretty much what I do. Mm-hmm. That's how I started explaining it to people, so they understand, because they know who they are.
Yeah.
So I can be like, oh yeah, like they do, I do.
Right.
Wait, so is there a particular entity that speaks through you frequently, or is it whoever comes around?
Typically, it's the Galactic Federation of Light.
Okay.
So the collective of the Galactic Federation of Light. Sometimes it's the High Council of the Pleiadians. Sometimes it's the High Council of the Lumerians. Sometimes it's the High Council of the Mintakans or the Syrians. It all depends on who wants to come through with a message for whoever. So I have a membership where we meet every month. We meet a few times a month, and I channel whoever has a message for us, and I channel a healing, an activation, and light language. And so the way that I work with these higher beings is they come and say, okay, we have a message. I say, okay, let's bring it through. Then I bring through the healing. So I can tap in multidimensionally. I work across all time, space, dimension, realities, and planes of existence, and all layers of consciousness. And I can see where things are in people's fields and where they stem from. I have a client that she had been a warrior in Mongolia around 580, and she was a man in that lifetime. And as that warrior, she was in love with the princess of the opposing army that they were fighting against, and she beheaded her. And she committed suicide because she couldn't bear that she killed her loved one in that lifetime. And every lifetime since then, she has committed suicide. And she didn't want to be here. And we were able to clear that energy and the soul contract that she made, the vow that she made that she would not continue. She would take herself out every time because of what she did back then.
Wow.
She was able to forgive herself, release that energy, and now she's thriving. She's got artwork. She goes and puts it on display at different places. She writes books. She's writing a program. She's a nutritionist, so she can help people with their nutrition as well. So these are the types of healings that come through my channel. And there's always a healing. And then there's activations of higher vibrational frequencies. And then there's light language that's channeled. And light language is just a language that your soul understands. It's a vibrational frequency. And it can recode your system. And it can elevate your vibrational frequency. Your soul understands it, but your mind's not going to understand it. And then they always bring through a channeled message that's going to help.
Wow, that sounds so cool.
And that's one of you said your memberships, or how does it?
Yeah. So I have an Ascension Tribe membership where we meet every other Thursday. And then I do the solstice and the equinox and portal days. So today is a portal day. We'll have a call tonight. I will bring through whatever they want to bring through today. Portal days are just days where the alignment of the planet are such that there's a thinner veil and more information can come through.
Okay.
So there's more vibrational frequency that can come through.
That's funny. I told you I felt kind of more emotional this morning.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, there's no real reason for it. I just feel like hair trickery. Not like not in any direction, but.
Because you said 12:12, and you also booked this interview for 12 p.m.
Yes.
And
which we exploded past.
Yes, we are now almost 2 hours into this. Why is that? Just what's with the numbers with everyone?
You really want to go down that road?
No, I just why is that? Why?
So there are angel numbers.
Yeah, I've heard angel numbers.
People will see numbers So 1212 is an angel number. 1111 is an angel number. 111 is an angel number. 333, 444, 555, 666, 777, 888, 999. 1010. They all have meaning. So 1, 2, 3, 4 is also another meaning. 1, 2, 3, 4 is typically a sign that you're on the right path and to take things step by step. So it's an easy way for our team, whether it's our spiritual team, our galactic team, our angels, our guides, whoever, to get that information is to bring our attention to numbers. Like if you see it's 1111 and then you go and you see 1111 on a billboard and then you happen to look at a different clock and it's wrong, but it still says 1111, you've seen 1111 3 times in 3 hours, you're like, okay, I get it. There's a sign here.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just an easy way for us as humans to receive the information because we don't often pay attention.
Right. Okay.
So they're like, here's the repeating numbers.
Yeah. I have 2 sets of numbers that have come up for me in the past year, and that's 222, and I don't really know what that means.
Balance.
Of course it does. Of course. And then
when you first got let go from your job, he got the 2 of Swords.
I went
card.
to.
He kept getting the 2 of Swords card.
Yeah,
and
then I went to
balance.
I went to New Orleans, and I saw like a proper tarot reader, and I got the first 3 cards she whipped out were 2s. And with the 2 of Swords in the middle too. So I was like, okay, what is this? I probably should have looked it up sooner than a year later, but whatever, it's fine.
Yeah.
The other number I always get is 1128, which is also my birthday. And I know like people are like, oh, I see my birthday on the clock, but I see it way too much. I know that might be like a more in-depth one, but.
Let's see. I look things up all the time because I'm like, what's that mean?
Yeah. There's a lot of numbers, it turns out.
And happy belated birthday, by the way.
Hey, thanks.
Okay, so 1128 is a message from your angels that you have been and are able to rapidly manifest your wishes into reality through the power of positive thinking.
Whoops.
Interesting.
I'm okay with that. I'm okay. I'm not terrible at positive thinking, right? Lauren,
you've gotten better.
Make me sound better in public. You've gotten better. That's true.
You are talking to a psychic right now. She knows exactly.
It also centers around inner wisdom and strength. Okay. And it also serves as a reminder to tap into our internal resources. So basically, they're telling you to keep your mind positive and you can manifest many things rapidly. So you can, manifest the life of your dreams very quickly as long as you keep your mind in the mindset that it's possible, it's happening. And if there's a desire in our heart, it's ours. We're meant to bring it into the world and it's already done. So all we have to do is take the aligned action to get there.
Aligned actions. Isn't that the name of one of our episodes?
No. But
then
we've been talking. We have talked about that.
Yeah.
Recently. Yeah.
Or we talked about it with Jenna.
Yeah.
The like a manifesting coach,
mm-hmm.
who was so fun. Okay.
We haven't talked about any of the historical figures who have come through in a channel.
Yeah.
But
I'm really trying to like give we covered a lot. I don't want to like.
Yeah, that's a whole new.
Yeah. I don't know, unless it's more complicated than that.
It's just basically, they'll come through when there are messages that humanity needs. So, like George Floyd was very much like, he volunteered to go out in that way to change the world, to change our viewpoint, to change the policing system. It's a slow progress in the change, but that event happened when it happened because we could not look away.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We were all home. There was no escaping.
There was no escaping it. Yeah. That was a huge turning point.
Yeah. It absolutely was. And, there are people who do volunteer for things like that in order to create greater change, like to make something happen.
Mm.
And when somebody does that type of, it's not a sacrifice, but it is like their soul came in with that mission to accomplish something big like that.
Yeah.
They exit, they reincarnate quicker, and they kind of get bumped up in the ascension. So it's like, hey, come and do this, and you're gonna get a bonus. If you want to think about it in 3D terms, you do something special, you get a bonus.
Right. Yeah.
I try to walk away with like, what does it all mean points. So
Yeah.
I'm going to back out to a couple of larger questions. And the last time I talked to somebody with your skill set, it was Michelle.
Yeah.
And I said, I apologize for treating you like a demigod. And maybe these questions are for someone like that, but this is a big question. What are we doing? Like what's it all for?
What's going on here?
What's the progress? Like, what are we trying to achieve? What's the end game?
Okay.
I know that's bananas, right? Or is that a common question?
One of the things, like in a larger scale or in a micro scale, we are all here to grow our souls. Whether we're here on Earth, on the other side, on another planet, we're constantly working to evolve our soul. And some of us are at one point and some of us are at another. Some people are holding a lot heavier, denser energy, and some people are in a much higher vibrational state because they've worked through their lower vibrational frequencies. So if you want to think about it, we're all, Dolores Cannon talks about how, it's kind of like we're trying to graduate school. So you go through life and you're graduating grades in order, which would be levels or, graduating to the next vibrational frequency before we exit. And then we go have our parent teacher conference, talk about it, and then we make a new plan for the next grade.
Yeah, right.
Or, we're with our college counselor and we're deciding what our major is. And you can think of that as when we're making our full blueprint before we come in. And the contracts that we're going to have. We have full contracts with everybody. But that's one. And then two, we're all trying to work towards the betterment. Right? Not everybody, but most of us are working for the betterment of humanity.
65% of us.
That's the number.
Yeah,
roughly.
Yeah, maybe 70%.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And then 5% kind of dips back and forth because they haven't made up their mind.
Yeah.
So we're working towards, really, in all honesty, we're working towards ascension. As we work on evolving our souls, growing our souls, we're working towards ascension. We're all working towards getting to that next level of knowledge and awareness and moving up the dimensional scale. But we've got to learn how to work together to make faster progress in our plan to graduate school.
Yeah. What's the urgency about?
Right now, it is that, 3D is collapsing. And if people are not, and I don't want to sound like, it doesn't matter that people are leaving or anything like that.
Yeah.
It's more of their souls did not choose to move forward, so they're exiting. And then those that have chosen to move forward in the ascension, there are so many people awakening right now.
Yeah.
So I am here to teach the teachers to go teach the students. And so I have a group of clients that I'm working with that are in my energetic rebirth program that are working towards starting their businesses.
Oh, okay, yeah.
They're clearing their channel so they can be ready to go help the next wave of awakeners that are coming online right now. So I mentioned earlier that the solar eclipse on April 8th was kind of a flashpoint. There's so much happening in the world right now that it has people questioning themselves and what they want for their lives. And a lot of those people are starting to wonder if their belief systems are correct for them. We all have our own belief systems. And some people are going to find out harder than others. Maybe. So let's go back to how I had a slip disc in my lumbar to get me out of corporate to come do this. Knowing full well that this is what my soul is here to do, I was resistant to letting go of that corporate position because of the safety and the security of the stable job and the stable paycheck. Some people are so fixated in their belief system because they don't know that things are better when they work towards, clearing those belief systems and, where they're questioning, like some people are questioning whether the religion that they've always been a part of is really what is working for them, or maybe it's their political beliefs or they're questioning that. It could be that they're questioning, who they are in the world or the friends that they keep. So if we all work towards what makes us feel better, if we make choices that are going to help us feel better in every moment and make the decision based on what does my soul prefer rather than, oh, it's always been this way, we're going to make faster progress than if we were to get stuck in the old stories.
Got it.
I don't know if I answered it or not, but that's what's coming through.
That's very helpful.
Yeah.
I think like the bigger question that I'm curious about that I'm not sure, even if you had an answer, I'm not sure I'd be able to comprehend it, is like, let's assume all the ascension is done. Like
it will never be done.
And that's, yeah, I think that's
just like your healing's never going to be done because there's always like another layer.
Right.
Yeah.
We're still living. Our souls are still, energy doesn't die. We just transform. So no matter what, we're just in another iteration of our existence. And so there's never an end. There's just, hopefully there's growth.
Yeah. I don't know.
Let's hope so.
But no matter what, lessons are learned.
Yeah.
If you don't grow, that's a lesson. There are a lot of people who they're bringing through like people who don't love themselves. Maybe that's the lesson that they had to come in to learn how to love themselves this lifetime. And then that's in their soul blueprint. And when they get to the other side, they get to just go over, well, did I learn this lesson or not?
And if you have to go do it over,
yeah,
let me try that again. In a different way. Maybe,
yeah.
Okay. So for your average person who is, let's say, listening to this show, listening to this conversation, and they are open to whatever's next and they want to be on an ascension path, but they don't know where to turn, what would you recommend would be like the next step, like in the least complicated way, something that's like more accessible?
One thing that would be really easy is to just start meditating. Take 5 minutes every day and connect with your soul. So if you just sit down, if you have to put on binaural beats,
I love those.
Put on binaural beats. If you have to close, if you have to lock yourself in a closet or something, putting yourself first is not selfish. It is required. There's a reason why they tell you to put on your mask if they come down in the airplane first before you help anyone else. Because if you can't breathe, you can't help anybody. So if you take that 5 minutes, let's say in the morning, you take 5 minutes, you do a quick meditation for yourself. It sets up your day a whole different way because you're not responding to the day. You've already centered yourself and you can just focus on your breathing. You know, if you have a lot going on in your head, if you just count your breath in and out, that centers you. And as you clear your mind and you'll start getting information from your spiritual team that's telling you like, hey, you know, and people are also getting a lot of information and they're not paying attention. So you might get a thought in your head like, hey, call so-and-so or go to this coffee shop instead of the one you always go to because, oh, you're looking for your life partner. Well, they're at this coffee shop over here. And if you go here, you're going to meet them. Or, you know, if you go to this grocery store, you're going to run into this person. They have an opportunity for you. Or you always go to this grocery store, but don't go to that grocery store right now. Because, and I did have a client that this happened to, so I'm using this as an example. She always went to the same grocery store, and one day she decided to go to another grocery store. She had a feeling that she had to go to the other place. Had she gone to the other place, there was a shooting at that store,
Wow.
Oh, wow.
and she would have been there.
Ugh.
Yeah.
And that's why her intuition was telling her to go to the other place. And these are the things that, you know, we may not pay much attention to, but there are reasons, and we're always getting information. We're all intuitive.
Yeah.
And our team is always talking to us through angel numbers, repeating numbers, through like songs that come on the radio, or, you know, maybe you see a billboard and it's like something you need to hear, or you go online and something just pops into where you are. Like if you're on social media and a post that is a message you really needed to hear is there, that's for you. There's no coincidence that you ran across it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's
we
such another
ignore it so much.
Yeah, and to our own detriment.
Yeah.
Like, and for any listeners out there that ever feel like alone in any kind of way, like you are the opposite of alone.
No, yeah, there's. If you think you're alone,
Renee's like, I can tell you about there's a whole Galactic Federation that's just
there's a
hanging out
Galactic
all the time.
Federation. You've got all your entire spiritual team. You've got your galactic team. You've got family members on the other side, friends on the other side.
It's crowded.
There is never a moment that you are ever alone, no matter how much you think that you are.
Yeah.
And don't worry about taking a shower. They don't go in there with you. Just do what you need to do.
Yeah.
But know that there are people who feel very alone. And I've had that experience where when I let go of all those friendships, I was very alone. My mom had already passed. My dad and I weren't. It wasn't like we were ever estranged, but we weren't close later.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't know how to deal with the death of my mom, who he spent with his entire life.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so I was very, very alone. And one night I was crying myself to sleep, and in the middle of the night, I had a visitation from Jesus. And he put his hand on my back and told me, everything's going to be okay. You're not alone.
Wow.
And there was just this energy that washed over me, and I knew I was okay. It was like I got a huge hug, and I woke up and I was like, oh my gosh, that happened.
That's really cool.
And, you know, and at that time, that's what I could identify with.
Right.
And I channel Christ consciousness light as well. So it is one of the tools I work with. But, you know, those dreams that you have of your loved one, and you wake up and you feel like it happened.
Mm-hmm.
It happened. It was a visitation. It was not a dream.
Yeah.
That's the way in which they can communicate with you. And a lot of times they come when you need the message the most. when you're feeling alone,
They've
they'll come
been.
in.
So I've had them. And I'm like, oh yeah, that my brother was hanging out with me. I've had dream visitations from my brother that were too. It was too big, too much energy for me to feel like, oh, I just dreamt of him. I was like, no, he was with me.
Yeah. Just like when my mom passed and she came and woke me up. There's no way that blanket moved on its own like it did.
No.
You know, that was my mom there with me.
Yeah.
I was awake, but I was asleep when she woke me up.
Right.
But I've had other dreams where she's come in and talked to me. And like a lot of those dreams where we would go back to my childhood home and we would be there. And it was because that was home. So that was a place that we identified with. So we would go visit there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
Okay.
My brother doesn't come to my dreams really anymore. I mean, it's been 20 years.
But we also have an ongoing and active conversation with him in our household.
He sends me signs and stuff now, or like plays little funny things, or he's like my spiritual bouncer. People have told me.
Yeah. And the thing is that like my mom isn't around as much anymore either.
Mm-hmm.
And it's because they're working on their ascension, their spiritual growth. Yeah. It doesn't matter if we're in a human form or on another plane of existence, or if we're in another dimension. Wherever we are, we're growing our soul. Yeah, and that's what we're doing.
I think that's one of the first things that we like covered in this podcast was like, just because you die doesn't mean you're done learning.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's also why they're not as close as more time goes on.
Yeah.
It's because they're still continuing to grow their soul. It doesn't mean that they don't still come back and check in, but they're not as available because they're working on their own soul lessons.
Yeah.
Just as we're working on our soul lessons here.
They also know you don't need it as much.
Exactly.
Yeah. My brother was visiting because I was in like deep grief and all that, or in the wrong relationship. And he was trying to show me like, this guy is not the right one. Go out. Yeah. It was a very like symbolic dream.
Yeah. Maybe just leave this guy behind and don't worry, there's another one coming.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
and here I am.
Yeah.
Wait. Here I am. Hey!
Funny enough, that was when I ended that relationship, and then like not too long after we started dating, I was 28. It was my Saturn return. We got married when I was 30. So
that means I got married when I was 28.
Oh, hey.
Hey, what do you know? It's almost like
I met my husband at 30.
30. See?
Hey.
It all happens.
My husband was 29.
27, 29, 30. See?
See? That's awesome.
I'm going to go for 3 rapid fire questions to bring us back to earth here. Well, first is, this is a stupid question, and I can't wait to ask you. Once this planet is spent, have they selected where we're going next?
There's no plan for this planet to go away.
Oh,
great. Love it.
Not to worry about that anymore.
Off.
What are your favorite tacos?
What?
My favorite tacos. I would have to say it is barbacoa.
Oh,
ooh,
what a strong choice.
Solid. Love it.
All right. And then lastly, where can people find you? Tell them where we can find your social handles and all that.
So
your website.
At the Light Heals for Instagram, Threads. I'm on Facebook. I don't use it, so don't worry about going there. Threads and Instagram, I'm on there all the time. I have a website, thelightheals.com. I work with people. My offers have shifted a bit. So I have Ascension Shrine, which is my kind of my entry point, where we gather every other Thursday, plus the solstice and the equinox and the portal days. Get a lot in there. That is a group offering for people who are growing in their spiritual awakening, and maybe you're a light leader, and you want somewhere to come and get activations and clearing of your energy. I also have my energetic rebirth program. This is a 16-week program to shatter the matrix, master your channel, unleash your inner badass, to explode your income and up-level your life in 16 weeks.
Love that.
Love it.
Mm-hmm. This is for the people who are ready to do the work. It is. I have clients in there right now. Right now I'm running the first round of it, and one person in there, we met back in 2020, and she was very much submitted to being a backstage character in her own life, and she's come a long, long way. She's taken the leadership role in her life. She started her business, her spiritual business. So not only is she a talented artist, but now she stepped into her spiritual business, and she is helping the earth in her ascension. And like, it just lights me up so much when I see my clients going out and starting to do the work that their soul's been here to do.
Yeah, that's really cool.
So that's just one example. So like, we dive really deep in that program. I also have a subscription where you do one session per month with me. And and I have next level self mentorship. This is my bespoke customized package to work with me one-on-one over a period of time that we choose together. And we journey through your soul, clearing out all that's standing in your way of your soul mission and who you're here to be. And this opens up your spiritual gifts, brings you into alignment, helps you to get clarity about what you're here to do. I can help with the business side of things as well. But it is just a deep dive into like bringing you into who you are. One of my mentorship clients, she is a spiritual entrepreneur, but she's been a serial entrepreneur that has had multiple different businesses. And at the beginning of the year, she chose to step into do her spiritual work. And now through our mentorship, she is now doing kind of an integrated coaching, spiritual, helping leadership of corporations integrate holistic spiritual practices into their leadership to help their company.
Whoa.
So it's pretty interesting.
That is interesting.
That's so great.
What we started out at wasn't that, but that's where she's ended up.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
And so, I hesitated on my offers because I've retired some, and I was like, oh, what are they again?
I mean, you have a lot. That's impressive and
you have
so cool.
All the strokes for all the different folks. If at any point you do another alteration of anything, let us know and we'll link it.
Yeah.
Gosh, do you have any? I drove everything in the last 30 here. Do you have any other questions?
No, that's great.
All right.
That's great.
All right. Well, Rennie, thank you so much.
Yes, you're welcome.
What a joy to talk to you.
Yeah.
And
if you would like to come back together at some point, they would like to bring through a channeling for everyone.
Oh my God, that would be the coolest.
Yes.
Yeah, I think
I can maybe do one that's like what's coming up in 2025.
Yes.
That sounds fun.
Yeah.
Especially what a year everyone's worried about.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Yeah. Can we work that out?
The timeline isn't set yet. So things may shift.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah, of course. I mean, yeah.
Oh, come on.
Okay.
Yes.
Sounds good.
All right. Thank you so
much.
much.
It was so much fun with you guys.
You too.
Have a good day.
Thank you.
You too. And good luck tonight.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. We'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
Thank you for listening. Visit www.clairvoyaging.com for show notes, merch, or just to say hi. If you'd like to support our journey, visit www.buymeacoffee.com/clairvoyaging. This has been a production of Wayfeather Media.